It's Friday, August 7th, 2020. It's a pleasure being here today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please hit the like button. Please make sure you subscribe and make sure you hit the bell notification down below so that you get the newest videos. I want to thank everybody who's come over to my Patreon channel, everybody who has helped support this channel. It continues to grow. It continues to wake people up. And I want to thank every one of you out there for your help, your support, your prayers. I could not do this without your love, your support, your help. Thank you so much. Let's get right into things right now today on this beautiful late afternoon, Friday, August 7th. California unemployment benefits extend another 20 weeks. I'm coming to you right now from Southern California and reading this. Another 20 weeks of extended benefits in California. Where is the money going to come from for all of this? And when we see the U.S. government now going to have to spend another $2 trillion to round out the year and all this stimulus, we know that they will probably spend $2 trillion just in the third quarter and probably another $2 trillion in the fourth quarter. It's going to be way more than $2 trillion. We just keep printing money out of thin air, and this is going to guarantee hyperinflation coming to America. CNBC today, in California, 57% seeking unemployment benefits lost their jobs for a second time. And we're going to continue to see many more people lose their jobs for a second time here in America as this economy has never really opened up, and it continues to slow down, close down, and there is no V-shaped recovery. This economy is dead on arrival. And you know, when you see the jobless claims that the numbers that we got yesterday, 1.186 million, so basically 1.2 million. We keep hearing about the V-shaped recovery. We keep hearing about all this job creation, but nobody's ever talking about all these jobs. 20 straight weeks of over 1 million job losses for 20 straight weeks. And people are absolutely, they are struggling. They are on the brink of disaster here. I'm reading articles, restaurant owners doing everything they can just to hang on to their businesses. Restaurant owners working 70, 80 hours a week and not making any money, just enough to keep the lights on and keep things alive. But we have people out there, and look, I'm saying my prayers daily for this country, that God really steps in and puts a hand in all this, because America needs a miracle. We have never seen anything like this happen to our country, and it is getting worse. 39% of young millennials return home amid crushing recession. You know, I've done videos, talked about it, where I see 4, 5, 6, 7 cars in a driveway, billboards out here in Southern California now with companies that will come remodel your garage so people can live in your garage, because so many people are coming home, or people are forced to rent out garages for extra money so they can make the mortgage payment. And look, there's nothing wrong with that. If this may be you, if you're on hard times, there is nothing wrong with families having to come together. There's nothing wrong with having to move back home. There is nothing wrong with that. Right now, we need to be in survival mode, and we need to get our egos out of the way and do what we need to do. If you need to move home to save money, or you need to move home to help out your family, that's what you need to do, and I think that's admirable. And too many people have egos. They got to have the 4-bedroom house, 3-car garage, and a swimming pool. It's all about ego. But right now, you got to think smart. And if you're one of these people, if it makes sense financially for you to move back home with your parents, or to move in with other family members to save up money, to get that emergency fund put away, to buy some assets, to get the debts paid down. That's what you need to do. This is a time right now where some people may have to swallow their pride and get real with the times. Wolfstreet.com, number of people on state or federal unemployment insurance jumps to 32.1 million. Think about how many people aren't even being counted now because they can't get through on the phone lines. They can't get through on the websites. I've read multiple articles. People have filed for unemployment back in April, still haven't even gotten one check yet. I mean, it's absolutely unbelievable how many people aren't even counting, who haven't been counted yet. I would, without a doubt, say that we have well over 40 million people in America who are not working, who are jobless, and we still have Congress not coming to an agreement to get help to so many millions of Americans who are falling behind. They don't have food. They're not able to pay utilities. They're not paying rent, mortgages, car payments. You lose your car. How are you going to go to work? How are you going to find a job if they just repoed your car? Now the rent moratoriums have ended. People now under the stress of being evicted, going homeless. I mean, just think about people's anxiety, their stress levels, and stress is a killer. It's the worst thing for your health, and people now having to deal with all these different variables that are taking place in this economy. It is no doubt a perfect storm. On the Hedge today, millions of workers suffering from repeat layoffs. And not that they're just suffering from repeat layoffs. People who are going back to work are getting reduced hours. And I believe there's going to be another huge wave of layoffs coming. And I feel my heart goes out to so many people who are hurting right now, so many business owners who are hurting. It's just really a terrible time in American history. And I think that this is going to dwarf the Great Depression by the end of all this. It is absolutely horrific, the devastation that is taking place. But when I watch the television and I watch the business analysts and I watch these economic shows, it's amazing how I have not heard one word about job losses. I'm not hearing anything about layoffs or furloughs. I'm just hearing about how great the stock market is doing. Market was pretty flat today. Dow Jones, I think, up around 46 points. We had a small pullback on gold and silver, which I'm kind of glad to see. I think it needed to cool down a little bit, but I would expect that we're going to see things pick right back up this coming week. But the television and these analysts are crickets when we start talking about the real economy. We start talking about reality. They are just so devoted and loyal to Wall Street and corporate America, promoting the propaganda on a daily basis, while 32.1 million officially have no job, who are collecting unemployment. And we have our politicians fighting back and forth about helping Americans right now who are in very, very big trouble. So we're going to go a whole nother weekend here, and millions of people have no idea how they're going to pay their bills. But we have people in Washington who will have a nice weekend, have a nice dinner, drink their wine, go to their wineries while they shut everybody else's wineries down. Gavin Newsom's winery stays open. Amazing. But these people, their life doesn't change. They get wealthier, richer, more powerful, while the middle class and the poor suffer immensely. CNBC today, Delta urges 3,000 flight attendants to take unpaid leave, shorter schedules to avoid furloughs. Take unpaid leave. So are these people going to be buying houses? Are these people going to be going out and helping the U.S. economy, buying retail products, buying cars? I mean, you don't need to be a rocket scientist here to figure out what is going on. That when I hear about, the building optimism or the builder's optimism is positive, there's an area out here, they're going to be building a bunch of homes, And I was talking to a friend of mine a couple days ago about it, and they bought up a bunch of land. They're going to be building, I don't know, maybe 100 houses. And I'm thinking, like, we're probably maybe in the first or second inning of this whole thing, and we have builders prepared to build houses. And I'm thinking, well, who in the world is going to have a job within the next 6 months? Who believes? I mean, who has that comfort level to even if you have a job right now? Who's comfortable enough to think that they're going to have a job 6 months from now, 6 weeks from now, a year from now? It's almost careless that people would even think about buying a house in this environment when you look at what is going on. Would you really commit? Rates at all-time lows. I think a 30-year right now is 2.88%, but it's not really doing much. If things were so good with rates at all-time lows, we would see numbers dwarfing 2006, and we're not. So they're doing everything they can to suck people into the housing market, but lending restrictions now have been tightening up. 20% down, 700 plus FICOs. You actually have to have a job to buy a house. So it's going to be very, very hard to find people with decent credit. 20% down, history of employment, people who are actually presently employed. It's going to be, I think, very, very difficult. But again, some people just go on life as usual. We're going to build houses. Everything's going to be fine. But we're sitting in a global shutdown. The economy is completely shut down globally. And right here in America, the U.S. economy is shut down. And it's just, it's incredible what is taking place. And yet there are people prepared to build houses and act like everything's going to be okay. We saw the July job numbers. I think it was close to 1.8 million. Some people don't agree with that number, but let's just say it's 1.8 million. I'm looking at where most of those jobs were. 600,000 of those jobs were in leisure and hospitality, low paying leisure and hospitality jobs. So I guess that's where we will be in America. We'll all work at a hotel, or we'll work at a resort, or we'll all be bartenders and waiters and waitresses. And that's pretty much, I guess, where the middle class is going to be going for work. We'll all be Lyft and Uber drivers, and hope for the best. CNBC, Uber ride-sharing revenue plummets. So that's just, again, reinforcing exactly what I'm saying. Wolfstreet.com, U.S. crude oil production plunged most ever. The Great American Oil and Gas Bust, Phase 2. So, I mean, where is the good news? Where is the light at the end of the tunnel? What is going to pull America out of this depression? We are losing so many businesses, so many restaurants. The restaurant industry is being absolutely decimated. And when you look at the amount of employment that the restaurant businesses employ, it's staggering. And to think that most of them are closed. We've lost thousands permanently. Every day that goes by, more and more are just falling by the wayside. And this whole thing just seems orchestrated. It's so wrong what is going on, and people are just being obliterated. They're being wiped out. Everything they work for is being wiped out. And I expect things to get worse as we head into the 2020 election in November. I believe it's going to get much worse, much worse. Homebuyers step back as mortgage rates plunge to record lows. Average contract interest rate for a 30-year fixed mortgage sits at a record 2.88%, as I said earlier. Mortgage application volume has fallen 5.1% from the previous week, according to the Mortgage Bankers Association. Home builders may have a lot of optimism, but over 30 million people are unemployed. We know it's over 40 million. Lending restrictions tightening, consumer debt skyrocketing. I ask myself, who could possibly be buying these houses? Because we're going to read things. I'm going to watch these business shows, and they're going to tell me about all the positive home building optimism. They're going to tell me how prices are going up and how everything is going to pick up this spring and everything's going to be back to normal. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't think this is going back to normal for a very, very long time. And the only optimism I see is fake optimism. The hedge, U.S. consumer credit rises for the first time since the crisis. People right now, as of this article, as of June, are just going back to life as usual. I guess when they were just getting stimulus checks of $1,200 and $600 bonuses, they just go back to life as usual and spend money. 3 months of declines, and then June came along and it picked right back up. And that's about right. People were getting stimulus checks, they were getting their $600 bonuses, and they're right back at Ross and Kohl's and Walmart and buying big screen TVs. Auto student loan debt has increased, so even though the auto market is crushed, people will still be duped and bamboozled to go buy a car and believe, I guess they're going to believe that the government is going to pay them forever, that they may never even have to go back to work. But if that's true, why are we paying taxes? Give us all a mansion, give us all a Lambo, and give us a couple $1 million, and we can all ride off into the sunset and life will be good, right? Isn't that what they're saying? Why are we even paying taxes if they're just going to give us money? Ladies and gentlemen, the price that we are going to pay for all this money printing, all this debt creation, this debasement of currency, it is going to be devastating. It is going to affect everybody. Article today, food prices rise to dangerous levels as a second wave of layoffs hit the U.S. economy. You know, if you can't afford food, how are you going to afford a house? You know, I mean, all this optimism that prices are going up, builders are optimistic, everything's going to be fine. But we have food banks saying now they've never seen anything like what they're seeing now. We're seeing 2-mile-long lines all over America at food banks for people to get food. So if you can't afford food at the grocery store, how in the world are people going to afford to buy a house? They can't even afford to pay rent now, yet we're being told that the housing market is going to be just fine. Food prices are surging as the Fed has committed to ramping up inflation in America. We're also watching a second wave of layoffs taking place. This is a complete nightmare, the perfect storm, and we're maybe in the second inning of this thing. We've got a long way to go. Millions worth of PPP loans went to Chinese-owned companies. If you're a small business owner, if you own a restaurant, this should make you absolutely sick to your stomach. Not that Robert De Niro and Nobu got $28 million, but now millions of PPP loans went to Chinese-owned companies. Millions of your U.S. dollars, your U.S. tax dollars, went to these companies. $192 to $419 million in loans were given to more than 125 Chinese-owned or invested companies operating right here in the U.S. 32 Chinese-owned firms received more than $1 million under the program, totaling between $85 and $180 million. You should be absolutely outraged as an American business owner. So many people struggling. How many restaurants right now, if they could just get $5,000 or $10,000 or $50,000, just could get some type of help? But this money, it went to corporations, it went to Nobu and Robert De Niro, it went to casinos, and now we're finding out it went to Chinese-owned companies. Absolutely appalling, unbelievable. Spot silver, gold, today pulled back a little bit, but as I'm looking at CNBC right now, it is back over $28. Gold holding steady over $2,000. So a little pullback today. That's fine. As just an independent, free-thinking human being, I'm sitting here today going, where can I put some cash other than gold, other than silver? I think it's way too early to buy land. I think it's way too early to buy real estate and other types of assets. But right now, the two most undervalued assets on planet Earth, pulled back a little bit, got a little cheaper today. If you have the ability, the means, the money, I don't think it's going to hurt you one bit. Remember, gold and silver is God's money. Gold and silver have never been worth zero. No other investment on planet Earth can ever make that statement. Gold and silver have never been worth zero. You got to be protecting yourself financially right now. We're in maybe the second inning of this depression. It is going to get extremely ugly. Article today, gold rising to 4,000 an ounce would not be an unreasonable move, fund manager says. Michael Cugini of the Permanent Portfolio makes the case that gold is still relatively cheap. I think it's extremely cheap, but people right now at 2,000 plus an ounce plus $100 premium plus, it's getting pricey. There's no doubt about it, but it's still very, very cheap, and silver extremely cheap. But I think what will happen is the majority of Americans will get priced out of gold, and that is going to force many people into silver, pushing the price of silver up. Also, I see institutional money, hedge funds coming into gold. That's going to blow the price out of this world. Billionaires and institutions, financial institutions, are going to come to the party, and they're going to get into the gold market. And at that point, most people, 99% of Americans are not ever going to be able to buy an ounce of gold. That's how I see it. Article today, blackout hits large area of New York City, including Upper West Side and Harlem. I wanted to talk about this because as we see things breaking down in America, politically, financially, socially, economically, this is the perfect storm. Everything is breaking down. What happens when the lights go out? Just think if you were in a city, an urban area, and the lights go out for 5 days. What if they go out for 5 weeks? None of this is an impossibility. I think we saw this happen in New York last summer, and now we're beginning to see it happening again. But just think, if a grid went down, if the lights went out, are you prepared to deal with some very, very bad things? And I think we all really have to think about that. Just within the last 30 minutes of making this video, we had a shooting, an officer-involved shooting. An officer got stabbed out here. I'm in Palm Desert right now, and the next city over is Rancho Mirage, very affluent area, home of Gerald Ford, Frank Sinatra, a lot of history, very affluent area. And apparently an officer, a sheriff deputy, got stabbed, and another officer returned fire. I don't have the story yet. We're just getting bits and pieces. But an officer stabbed another officer involved in a shooting. I don't know what led up to this. But here we are in Rancho Mirage, one of the most affluent areas in Southern California, and a historical Hollywood and a political epicenter, home to ex-President Gerald Ford, as I said. But look what's happening. I mean, police officers getting stabbed in Rancho Mirage, police officers having to use weapons to defend their own lives in Rancho Mirage. And so what happens wherever you live if the lights go out, whether that's New York, Chicago, Rancho Mirage, California, Newport Beach, California, Palm Desert, California, Los Angeles, California? There is apparently bad people everywhere, right? So you need to be prepared for that. The lights can go out, and when the lights go out, very, very bad people are going to come out. But I think that we don't really talk about enough about preparation if the grid went down, if the lights went out. But, you know, we are now in a time in America where nobody's safe. To be in an affluent area like Rancho Mirage and think about shootings and stabbings, it's unheard of. But this is 2020. And I truly do believe that closer we get to November, things are going to really, really heat up. I said this a year ago, and I'm going to stick to it. And 2020 has not disappointed. It has been a absolutely volatile year. Now, tensions with China throws another wrench in the gears here. Just unbelievable. And I believe that we're going to definitely see an uptick in violence and in crime. And too many cops now are quitting. Now it's going to be harder and harder to get good people to take these jobs. People, a lot of law enforcement retiring early. They've had it, and so many cities now are going to defund their departments. So you will be on your own. So just imagine if your department gets cut in half. Maybe your department will just be cut completely, and you'll be completely on your own. Imagine what it's going to look like when the lights go out. You have no police, no food, no water, no security. You're going to be in a world of hurt. You will be living in a nightmare. So look, I'm going to leave it there today. I want everybody to have a great weekend. And remember, don't just blow this weekend off. Don't just sit around, do nothing. Do something productive. Go get some food. Go get some canned food. Go get some bottled water. Put it away. It's a perfect weekend to work on preparations. Go out, do some training. Go take a hike. Go for a walk. Go for a run. Go lift some weights. Whatever you can do. Do something to get prepared. My good buddy Aaron in Texas just ordered a couple $1,000s worth of dry food, and he loves precious metals, but he just felt he was a little weak in the food department, so he ordered another $2,000 in dry food. If you don't have at this point 90 days worth of food, you're in trouble. So go buy some dry food, go buy some canned food, go buy some water, go really work on that. If you don't have food and water, you don't need to be worrying about buying gold and silver. What you do need to worry about is making sure you have enough security first and foremost, so you can protect your food, your water, and your assets and your family members. So if you don't have security at this point, that's what you need to do tomorrow. If you have that, then go make sure that you got food and water. If you have a couple of weeks of food and water, you need to get a couple more weeks of food and water this weekend. I think at this point, I used to say 30 days, minimal now, 3 months. The way things are going, who knows how bad this could get leading into November, and what's going to happen after November could be even worse. So take this weekend, do something productive, get outside, enjoy life a little bit, and diffuse a little bit. I know there's a lot of negativity out there. I know a lot of you've probably lost jobs or been laid off, but we got to get our minds straight. And if you're getting an unemployment check, make sure that you're spending it wisely. When these stimulus checks arrive, whether they're $1,200, $1,500, $2,000, take that money and use it for preparation. Don't go out and blow it like the masses on big screen TVs and video games and dope and things of that sort, okay? Buying clothes. Don't be stupid. This is the time right now where you really need to be critically thinking about your future, the future of your family. So make sure that you take that money and you prepare wisely. Tough times are coming to America, ladies and gentlemen, and only tough people are going to survive them. People who have been preparing and who are preparing right now are going to be the ones that survive this. If you haven't been preparing, it's probably already too late. If you have money and you have the means right now, you need to start preparing right now. But for the people out there who are unemployed, who now aren't getting bonuses, who are being evicted, these people are done. It's already too late. And I don't want you to be one of these people. Listen to this message, read the comments down below. Listen to what people are saying is happening all over America, not just here in Southern California. Read what is happening. Get yourself prepared, or you're going to be a victim of the worst economic collapse in world history. God bless every one of you. Have a good weekend. Stay safe out there. Be preparing, and make sure you are walking close to God, and make sure that you get on your hands and knees tonight and thank God for everything that you have, and that you still have an opportunity to survive what is coming. Talk to you very, very soon.